Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTest.com, and in this video, I'm going to do a performance evaluation on a brand new boat from BENETEAU, the Monte Carlo 52. This has been enhanced entirely from the keel up, including a new running surface, so let's see how they've done. The lower helm consists of two 16-inch displays, and notice there are no gauges on the panel at all. That's because everything is connected to these displays. The engine and the ship's electrical system, all controllable through the ship control by BENETEAU, so a touchscreen will give us access to everything on the boat. Down below we have electrical switches, the two Volvo Penta displays, the zipway controller, and the trim tab control. The helm is mounted to a tilt base, and over to the right hand side, the digital throttle and shift, the IPS joystick, and then the remote control for the forward displays, and notice how it's positioned well back so we can operate two displays from the seated position. The helm seat is double wide, there's a flip armrest in the middle and a full length flip bolster. To both sides are opening side windows, and to the left of the helm there are two beverage holders, a cubby, and 12-volt connectivity. There's nice visibility out the two forward windshields, and I'm happy to see that there are defrost vents. Now just to the port side of the helm console, we've got the Scheiber touchscreen that lets you control all the electrical systems on board, touchpad for the battery systems, and then the air conditioning system just underneath. And all this is redundant. It can also be controlled by the Garmin screens up on the helm. The helm consists of two 12-inch displays, the Volvo Penta EVC gauges right in the center, compass mounted right on top of the console and in line with the helm that is mounted to a tilt base. Electrical switches are over to the left-hand side along with the zipway control panel. To the right-hand side, bow thruster, IPS joystick, and the digital throttles. I like that there's a closed-circuit camera system because we really don't have a good sight line to the stern from this Flying Bridge helm. However, there is another control operating station in the cockpit. The captain gets a single bucket seat that swivels and slides. It includes raised armrests and a single flip-up bolster.
Additionally, there's a cockpit station that includes the IPS joystick, thruster controls, engine start-stops, aft platform controls, and electrical switches for the cockpit awning, lights, and cord reels.
To the stairs leading to the swim platform, there are two shore cords, 50 amps each, and they're both on Glendenning electric cord reels. The engine room is accessed from a hatch in the aft deck, and roominess is certainly the key phrase here. The focal point being, of course, the twin Volvo Penta D6 IPS 650 engines. Looking around the engine room to the port hand side is the black water tank. Just above that is the isolation transformer, turning the 240 volt into 110. Forward are the two fuel tanks, and in between the two, the 11.5 kW generator. Over to the starboard side, the two units that occupy the chiller system, and just below, the battery system. I can't help but notice how everything is so easily accessed. All of the pumps, all of the filters, the checkpoints are right in the middle of the two engines. And I also can't help but notice how clean the wire runs are and how everything is double clamped appropriately. To both sides of the cockpit, there are three 9-inch steps leading up to the side decks. It's a symmetrical layout, so they're both the same 16-inch width average on both sides. Rails top out at 28 inches, and there's another rail leading along the side of the cabin, making a safe transition forward. There's a 10-inch midship cleat with chafing gear just outside and courtesy lighting inside. At the working end of the bow, the rails top out at 30 inches. It's a split rail design so we can have bow end boarding, and there's a teak seat all the way forward. To both sides of the bow, there are 10-inch cleats with chafing gear just outside. The ground tackle consists of a Lumar windlass turning 90 feet of chain rode and 150 feet of rope rode, leading out to an anchor roller that is recessed into the tow rail forward. A Delta plow anchor is on top of the roller, and to both sides, there are rode storage lockers, making it easy to access the anchor rode. On the port hand side, more storage, another grab handle, and the remote control for the windlass.
For our departure, since it was just a straight pullout, I chose the flybridge station as it gave the best views of the surrounding area. As we made our way out of the narrow fairway, I kept to the joystick for steering, and it was nicely responsive with no surging or wandering. Once clear, the transition to traditional steering entailed simply moving the shift levers into gear, which disables the joystick. The Monte Carlo 52 has a length overall of 53 feet 7 inches, a beam of 15 feet 2 inches, and a draft of 3 feet 11 inches. With an empty weight of 33,034 pounds, 75% fuel, full water, and 3 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 36,035 pounds. With a pair of 480 horsepower IPS 650s run up to 3,600 RPM, we reached our top speed of 26 knots. Now, this was in 1 to 2 foot seas holding us back, so not ideal conditions for a test. In fact, when BENETEAU tested this same boat on the flat, they reached 28.7 knots and achieved 3830 RPM. That said, when we throttled back to 2800 RPM, we measured a best economic cruise of 16.4 knots. It was at that speed that the 24.4 gallon per hour fuel burn translated into 0.7 nautical miles per gallon and a range of 209 nautical miles. All, of course, while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 344 gallon total fuel capacity. She accelerates at a nearly level altitude and reaches planing speed in an average 6.7 seconds. Keeping the throttles pinned, we'll see her passing 20 miles per hour in 16.5 seconds. She has a natural 5-degree bow-high attitude, and her narrow entry seems to cut through the chop quite well with absolutely no pounding or hull slap. She throws spray well to the sides and down low for a dry ride. As we came back to the marina, I went back down to the joystick for maneuvering down the fairway. In front of the dock, I went down to the cockpit station, rotated stern to, and headed in. It's here where I really put the joystick through its paces, and to no one's surprise, it was dialed in perfectly, allowing exacting precision, even with a crosswind and cross current. It's just an easy and forgiving boat to operate in close quarters.
Well, in my opinion, the enhanced running surface certainly made this a comfortable yacht offshore. Around the dock, she's equally impressive, but even more impressive is her luxury treatments inside, but that's covered in another video. Be sure to look for it. For now, this is my full performance evaluation of the Monte Carlo 52 from BENETEAU. For BoatTest.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.